afternoon everyone and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of Quick and Easy Cooking with Mimi, featuring the world's best all-in-one super kitchen machine, the Thermomix. Today I'm going to show you something that children love all over the world: chicken nuggets. When in the past, before I had my Thermomix, I used to buy at least one packet of chicken nuggets every week. And as the years went by, I noticed that nuggets became increasingly more expensive, and also I noticed that the fat content started to increase. And then, you know, there was an expose by a famous British chef on what goes into those nuggets, and I was quite concerned. So I'm happy that I now have my Thermomix and I can make it on my own. So I'm going to show you just how easy it is for you to do yourself. Okay, so what we need for this is some chicken. I would recommend chicken breast. You can also use chicken fillet, but I'll show you later. I'll show you shortly. Fillet comes with, especially if it comes from the thigh or the drumstick, it comes with these white things. I think it's connective tissue. So we need to get rid of this tissue. You have to slice it to remove it. Otherwise they would get stuck in the blade. So we'll need about 500 grams of this chicken. And another tip is do not defrost them totally. They have to be like slightly frozen, still a bit firm, so that when you chop them, it's easier to mince it yourself. So I'm gonna put my bowl in here, and then I'm gonna press stir so that I can weigh my chicken. I want about 500 grams. Of course, you can do more or less, but this is just so that it's easy for you to approximate the ingredients. And you cut them into about cubes that are the size that can go through the whole of your mixing bowl lid. This is always your measurement to know how big or how small you're going to cut. So like this one, it can go through, so this is good enough. So now I have about 352. So I'm just going to add a bit more. And I need to make sure I don't have any of those white connective tissues. Like this one, I'm getting rid of this. 413, 446. So like this thing, if you see this, so I need to get rid of this. And since I have too little left, I'm just going to dump in everything. I have about 530, maybe 600 grams. So, yep, about 587. So it's fine. This is not a very accurate recipe. It's just for you to gauge more or less if you've never done it before. Okay, so this is about 587. For you, I would say take about 500 grams. And the nice thing now is that you go to the supermarket and you can actually look at the weight of the meat that you're buying. Okay, so I'm going to wash my hands for a moment. So we have boneless, skinless chicken breast and fillet over here, but I'm not going to work on this yet. So I'm going to start with an empty bowl, and into this empty bowl I'm going to chuck about 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. It depends on you, your family. Maybe you can go for 1 or 2 or 3. So these are quite big, so I would say 2. And this is where it gets interesting. You can actually sneak in a bit of vegetable for your kids. I'm going to sneak in 1 Australian carrot. That's about 50 grams. If you're using normal carrot, maybe about half. I would recommend Australian carrots because in Australia they regulate the use of pesticides and other chemicals. So this is for added color as well, natural color, so that your nuggets will look pinkish. So you just dump it in like this. Sorry, I can't greet anyone right now. I don't have my laptop. So hi, whoever you are, wherever you are, from all over the world. And please ignore my cat that's meowing in the background. He's smelling the chicken and he's going crazy. So we're gonna chop now our garlic and carrots for 5 seconds on speed 5. Oh, by the way, your carrot, you cut it a bit small because we want them to be chopped finely as well. So about an inch, about inch cube, something like that. Okay, so 5 seconds, speed 5. Super quick. And we have them right here. If you want it to be finer, it's fine. We can make it slightly finer. We can just move it down, scrape it down, and maybe we do 3 seconds on speed 6. Absolutely up to you how fine or how rough you want it to be. I'm thinking 3 seconds on speed 6. Thank you. And once you're happy with how fine your ingredients are, then you can add in your chicken. So I'm just gonna dump my chicken in, semi-frozen, just like that. And I'm gonna chop this for about 30 seconds on speed 7. I'm just gonna scrape down a bit. And then I will listen. I will be able to determine, I mean, up to 30 seconds, but maybe if you are fine with how it looks like, you can even cut it down. I've been using my Thermomix for so long that I can actually hear what consistency it is. So let's try 30 seconds and I'll adjust it. Try with 15 seconds because I like mine a bit chunky, not too fine. Yeah, it's perfect for me. I'd say 15 seconds on speed 7. And if you have some extra bits on your lid, you can scrape it down. And remember to season your nuggets. It will need a bit of salt. I'm just gonna add a bit of salt and pepper. About half a teaspoon of salt and about a quarter teaspoon of pepper. You need to have a bit of salt. I've done this before without any salt and it's disastrous. It's not nice. Meat always needs a bit of salt. And up to you what kind of spices you want to use. Today I feel like adding a bit of smoked paprika, just a dash or 2. So I love the aroma of smoked paprika. And then that's it. We're gonna need it for about, let's see, 20 seconds maybe. I'm going to activate the kneading function. Maybe 15, I'll go with 15 seconds. So now you see that the kneading function is not just limited to bread. You can also use it for pasta, you can also use it for fish ball, and you can also use it for nuggets. So that's 15 seconds on the clock. Oh, it's done. Super fast. And there you have it. Okay, so now the next step is to form our nuggets. You can use any tray with baking paper. I like to use my silicone mat because it's reusable and more friendly to the environment. And then we need to have some breadcrumbs. If you want to make it gluten-free, you can skip the breadcrumbs, or maybe you can use a bit of cornstarch instead, so your nuggets will be like tempura style. So it's got a slightly crispy exterior. And then I'm gonna have beaten egg in here. This is my egg. Super easy. You can get your kids to help you at this point. You can have an assembly line. So you can take about a spoonful of this, then you dip it in the egg and then dump it into the breadcrumbs. No need to shape it at this point. And once you put it on your baking tray, let me move my baking tray, and that's when you shape it. Up to you how you want to shape it. Okay, so I'm going to move this so you can see more of the nuggets. I'm not sure how much is visible on the screen. So, okay. So we've got our egg, we've got our breadcrumbs. So I'm going to get more of the chicken. I'm just going to form it into like a ball, and I can actually do several of these at once. I prefer not to make them too big so that they can cook faster, and try to make them the same size so that when you bake or fry them, they will cook at the same time. That's the purpose of making them uniform in size. Otherwise, some will cook faster than the others. So I'm going to actually do everything to show you how quick it is to make these nuggets and how much you can get from 500 grams of chicken. So you just dip and roughly shape. Dip. Ideally, you have somebody doing the dipping in the breadcrumbs. Otherwise, your hands will be full of both egg and breadcrumbs, and it's it's not very pleasant. And it doesn't have to be very pretty, because you know, when you buy nuggets, they're irregularly sized anyway. And the nice thing about this is that you know that what you're giving to your family is 100% meat, and there's no preservative, no MSG, and you know exactly how much salt is in it. And I'm telling you, it tastes very, very good. I can't describe how it tastes like, but in over 2 years advisor, in my 2 years experience as advisor, everybody will say the same thing. It's like, it's unbelievably good. For some reason, when you start going natural, everything natural always tastes better. Everything homemade always tastes better than store-bought. So all I can say is, you give this a try today, because it doesn't take that much work. The longest work is actually defrosting the chicken. And you don't even have to defrost it completely. It has to be slightly firm, so when you mince it, it doesn't get stuck on the blade. Beautiful. So I have another. Okay, let's try to move faster here. Assembly line worker, single assembly line worker. I should have used my fork for my. And of course, up to you. If you want to add egg as a binder, it's also possible. You can also add cornstarch. But I'm telling you, while you're doing this, you can see that it comes together just perfectly. Partly because it's semi-frozen, so it doesn't go very limp. It's just the perfect consistency. So you won't need any extra binder for it. It's just perfect. Now I see that my baking tin is not enough. From 500 grams of chicken, we're actually going to make a lot of these. And I need another baking tray. I'm just going to show you how much you can get. Okay. And if you don't want to cook it all, this is fine. You can also freeze it. It freezes very well. Just make sure you freeze it in a single layer first, and once it's firm, only then do you take it out and put it in a Ziploc bag or a Tupperware. Because if you freeze it, you know, lumped together right now, you're gonna have difficulty taking them apart. So if I'm not mistaken, that's the term that they use. It's called flash freeze. So it's like just enough to firm it up. I'm just portioning them now. I'm not shaping them yet, just to show you how much we can get. And I'm gonna wash my hands, and I'm gonna get another baking tray so that we have space for everything. I'm just scraping the last of the meat and a bit of carrot that I find here in the corner. And I'll show you what happens to that white connective tissue that I asked you to remove earlier. So it's this one. It actually gets tangled between the blades and it's not very pleasant. Okay, so I've got it here. I think this is about it. I'll just show you my bowl now. So this is my bowl. I'm going to pre-clean it now. Hang on, I'm just going to get a bit of chicken from under the blade. Don't be afraid of the blade. So it looks like that. I'm going to add water, about a liter. Okay, and then we do the pre-clean while I get another baking sheet. And pre-clean is here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'll put them in, I'll put my chicken in the egg and dip them in breadcrumbs. You can also season your breadcrumbs if you wish. You can use parsley or a bit of paprika, or you can just leave them plain. If you have kids, and if you get your kids to do this, then they can get really creative with this. So in the past, I've had my kids help me, and they made dinosaur shapes, they made anatomically correct heart shape, they made Olaf the snowman. So I can see I'm running out of, so you need about 100 grams of breadcrumbs here, I'm gonna estimate. So we can get so much from 500 grams of chicken, and it doesn't cost much, probably about less than 10 ringgit, I'd say. Because if you buy antibiotic free chicken breast, it's about 20 ringgit a kilo, if I'm not mistaken. If you buy normal chicken, it's even cheaper. It's about 18 ringgit a kilo, or 17 or 16. I don't remember. I've been buying the antibiotic free chicken. I feel it's worth that extra little investment so that my children can have, my family can have the best nutrition there is. So I'm running low on egg as well, so I would say you use about 2 eggs for this. Had a bit of egg from making bread earlier. I use it as egg wash. This is a lot. And you can see how fast it is, and I'm doing it alone. So you can even do it in the morning. You make it in the morning when you wake up. Just defrost the chicken overnight. Don't put it in the freezer, just put it in the refrigerator compartment. So by morning, you can make your nuggets from scratch. So I have 2, 4, 6, 7 more. That's a lot. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19 plus 7, I got about 26 large pieces. They're really big and they're pure meat. No fat, no odd chicken parts, and only half a teaspoon of salt, and no MSG, no preservative. It used to be that I would buy processed foods and I would look for the items with the longest expiry dates, and now it's the complete opposite. I know that the faster something spoils, the less preservative there is, if any. And if you have any extra egg, you can always just make an omelette with it. So for the breadcrumbs, I would estimate about 100 grams. Because yeah, this pack is 500 grams, that's right. So I'm almost done. So if you're doing this in assembly line fashion, it would be even faster, unless your kids start to get super creative and make all sorts of shapes. It's actually a fun family activity to do. You can give them a free hand with the design. I prefer to add the breadcrumbs bit by bit so that I don't waste any of it. Because once it's out, you throw them away. So it's just right. Okay, so I'm going to wash my hands now. And from 500 grams of chicken, we managed to get this much of chicken nuggets. 100% chicken meat, half a teaspoon of salt, a bit of pepper, and 1 Australian carrot. Wonderful, natural, nutritious food for your entire family. So I hope you had fun today. Thank you for joining me today. Join me again tomorrow, 6 p.m., same place. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum dan selamat berbuka puasa. See you tomorrow.